Hi everyone, welcome to episode 10 of Zesty Thoughts with your host Annábla. Thank you so much for being here for 10 episodes. Wee! I'm so excited to join y'all. I'm actually recording at night. This is the first time. Normally I record in the afternoons, like midday, slash like afternoon on Tuesdays. But I didn't have any time yesterday. I went whale watching yesterday. So I was very occupied, obviously. I went with my parents and my godfather, just like a little family whale watching vibe day. And it was so fun. And if anybody else has gone whale watching before, at least off the coast of Newport Beach, I've gone a few times. And most of the time you don't actually see any whales. You see a ton of common dolphins, but I've been a ton of times before and like we've never seen whales. And this is the first time that we saw a whale. It was like the coolest thing ever. So that was super fun. We had some Bloody Marys and just like vibed. And so, yeah, I was a little bit busy yesterday and then we got lunch after. It was just a nice, relaxing Tuesday. So, and then I tried to record this morning. Well, I actually woke up early with the plan to record this morning. I went to the gym. I did legs and a recovery run today. And then went to Ulta because I ordered a new eyeliner like a week or two ago. I had ordered a bunch of stuff to be delivered. And then I messed up and I accidentally chose the wrong color eyeliner. I wanted a brown and I picked like this like burgundy color and it's pretty, but I was like, I need my brown. And I didn't want to like obviously make another online order for one thing. Like that makes no sense. So I went to Ulta on the way back from the gym, got that and a few other things. I got like a new cleansing oil, a brand that I haven't tried yet. So cross my fingers that my skin likes it. And then I also got, like a shimmery body oil. I've been like looking for one and there's this new one. I forget the name of the brand also. They're brands that I like have never purchased from before. So we'll see. But, and it's vanilla scented and I love vanilla. So I'm so excited to try that. Anyway, long story short, I went to Ulta. I wasn't really there for that long. And then I came home, I ate breakfast, I showered, I got dressed, like I did my makeup and everything. And I was like, oh, I like don't have time to record now. Like I have to pack my lunch. I was like determined to vacuum today before I went to work as well. So I vacuumed. By the time I was done with that, I was like, oh, it's time to leave. Lovely. So I'll just record when I get home after an entire day of work. But I actually feel okay energy wise. I had a few breaks at work today and one student that didn't show up. So like a pleasantly unexpected break on top of the breaks that I already had. So it was not too crazy of a day. Normally Wednesdays are like my long days. I'll start around 1 and I teach till 8:15. So usually I'm like beat at the end of the day, but I'm feeling okay today. My energy is all right, surprisingly. So I was like, let's do it. But yeah, whale watching was so fun. I'm trying to think of other things that I did this week. Oh, I went to see Clue, the play with my parents at the Amundsen Theater. And we like showed up. I didn't look at the cast or anything beforehand. And we showed up and they had like a poster outside with like the cast members and the actors' names. And someone that I like used to do theater with was in it. And I was like, what? I still have to DM him, Alex Sayek. And he was really good in it. Like he had a great accent and everything. But I was just such a small world. I was like, no freaking way. And it was such a full circle, like crazy ironic situation because when I was little, I was in Beauty and the Beast and he played the Beast in Beauty and the Beast when I was in it. And the same day, like we went to the play at night. It was like a 6:30 showing of it. But in the morning, I had a recital for the studio that I teach with. and we performed, had the students perform at Banderica Studios in the Valley. And that's a whole other tangent that I'm going to go on. That place was insane. But I performed with the director of the studio, who's an amazing pianist. Like, oh my gosh. The two of us performed Home from Beauty and the Beast. And then lo and behold, we go to see Clue, and who's in it? The guy that played the Beast. When I was in it as a kid, it was just like, wait, what? Like, that's crazy. That's divine intervention. I don't know about y'all, but yeah, that was just like really cool. The play was hilarious. I was unfortunately like falling asleep in part of it because I was so exhausted. I don't know what anyone else can relate to this, but sometimes if I have like too much caffeine, my body will just like shut down, and it's like borderline narcolepsy. I don't know what it is. I don't know if that's like a normal thing, but my dad and I split a coffee before, and both of us were falling asleep. Thankfully, not during any of the scenes that Alex was in, so I got lucky. But yeah, I was like not falling asleep completely, but I was kind of like nodding off and like trying to force my eyes to stay open. But it was hilarious. Like the parts, that sounds crappy, but like the parts that I remember were really funny. So if you're into live theater and want to see a ridiculous comedy and you're into Clue, if you've ever played Clue before, then I highly recommend. I think it's here a little bit through August too. But yeah, I did that on Sunday. What did I do Saturday? I didn't do much. Oh, Friday night, I went to see Longlegs with a few of my friends. And I have a lot to say about Longlegs. For starters, I'm super into horror. I don't know that I'm like a nerd, but I have like pretty high expectations for horror films. And I'd like to say that I have a pretty good radar for like good horror versus like, lame horror. So after seeing the trailer and the marketing campaign and everything that was lined up for Longlegs, I was like, oh my God, I have to see this. Like, this seems insane. So I have a few comments to make regarding my opinion now that I have seen it. So there will be spoilers. Possibly. I don't know. I'm going to try not to spoil too much, but there are some things that I want to discuss that, like, if you haven't seen it and you're like kind of excited to see it, maybe hold off. That way you can see whether like you share your opinions with me, or so you can form your own opinions. You know what I mean? So basically, I think the first thing that I could just say as like a blanket, like takeaway from the film is that like, it was just like painfully predictable. There were a lot of scenes where like I just out loud, like to my friend, whispering in the movie theater, like, oh, this is about to happen. Oh, it's, spoiler, it's probably the mom, huh? Like the mom, as soon as she made that first phone call with the mom, I was sitting there like, dude, the mom talks weird. Why are they talking to each other like that? Like, that's strange. I know that everyone has a different dynamic with their family, but I was like, that's a little off to me. And then as soon as they showed the mom, I was like, dude, the mom is off. Like, I told Rocky, I was like, I don't fuck with her. The mom is weird and I don't trust her. So that to me was like very just like obvious. And I don't know if that's like, that tends to happen to me with films. Like, I will be watching a film and anything that's just like any subtle foreshadowing just screams in my face, because I've done like film and like analysis of film and like scripts and stuff like that for acting, that like, it's really hard for that. It's really hard for me to watch a film that has strong foreshadowing and it not like ruin the film for me. I feel like it's too spoon-fed. And so sometimes it's hard for me to enjoy films that are like that. Like, I just get a little bit irritated. That was the case with this. Like, the scene when she had the gun at the end, and I was like, oh, she's probably gonna run out of bullets. Like, I like guessed that at the beginning of the scene. I was like, I can already see where this is going. Like, she's gonna miss or something, and then she's gonna run out of bullets and then not be able to, you know. And then of course that happens. So I don't know, that was just like my first takeaway was like, dude, I made at least 10 predictions out loud to Rocky sitting next to me before they even happened. And Rocky had already seen the film, by the way. So I was like, dude, this is going to happen, right? And she was just like she didn't want to tell me because, you know, she knew. I don't know. It felt like I was being spoon-fed. And with horror, I feel like that's even more annoying because to me, the thing that is most satisfying in horror is like not just like jump scares, but like surprises and like unexpected twists and turns in the plot or in like character development or whatever. And I just felt like I didn't really get that because there were like hints throughout that led me to that conclusion, especially with the mom's character. Like I was like instantly, dude, that phone call, I was like, that is such a red flag. And the only thing that was some sort of a shock was like the partner toward the end, but I don't know that it was like the most satisfying, like, you know, it was like, okay, of course they're gonna go there, of course it's gonna be like the one kid that she like connected with, you know what I mean? Like that made total sense. It wasn't really like so far off to me that it was like very exciting. So that's my first point on that. Predictability was just like annoying. Secondly, I don't know that like across the board, like the whole like demonic trope in horror, I don't really think it does anything for me. And I was talking with one of my best friend M's. Y'all saw M in episode 5, M's partner, Brian. The two of us were talking after, and I was just like, yeah, I don't know, the demonic stuff like bothers me because I don't really know that I believe that like the devil or like this like separate entity convinces people to like do bad things. Like I am like of the belief that like we create our own evil. Like humans can be a source of evil when they are not living with love and when they're not walking you know, the right path, and when they're not in alignment with peace and harmony and love. Humans can do very evil things. So the idea that like some other entity is like forcing you to do that, like I don't I just can't take it very seriously because I don't like genuinely believe in it. Now I will say, like, for people that are like deep down, like they're like in their gut, like the idea of the devil and like demons is like really scary to them, they'll probably be freaked out by films like this or just in general, like, you know, but it just doesn't really do anything for me. So the fact that like that, also a spoiler, was like the main kind of source of evil in this, I was kind of like, oh, okay, that like threw me off guard. And then to me, it wasn't as like scary. Like it was just kind of more of like a mystery thriller kind of, but like not really, than like a horror. So I don't know that. I mean, that's going to depend on the person watching it, you know, and what their feelings are toward like, you know, demonic tales and like how they feel about that. Because if you're not someone that really is impacted by that, then this film might do literally nothing for you. I'll be so honest, you know. I think it's so much more. It's also like, dude, it's 2024. Like, I would much rather sit and, you know, watch something that's a realistic commentary on evil that actually exists in real life. You know, but it wasn't that film, you know, it wasn't that kind of film that makes you think. It's just supposed to like freak you out a little bit. Also, I had no clue that dude was Nicolas Cage. If Rocky had not told me, by the way, Nicolas Cage is in this, no way I would have recognized him. Like, that's crazy. He looked unrecognizable. And I don't know, I thought there were aspects of his demeanor that were like a little bit like off-putting, but like it was kind of giving Tiny Tim. I don't know that it was like that unique of a character that it was like, very visceral for me, because I feel like it kind of reminded me of some other famous kind of creepy characters. So that's another kind of take I had. Well, I don't know. I was looking up on Reddit. The only thing that I walked away actually curious about was like, why is it called Longlegs? Because to me, it wasn't very obvious, the title. Like, I was like, walking out of it, I was like, wait, but why is it called Longlegs? Like, I don't understand. And then the answer was very unsatisfying. I looked up on Reddit and like people were discussing it. And someone was like, oh, it's when he's talking to little kids, you can't see him in frame. It's because he has to bend down to talk to them. And then someone said, the killer, this is a stretch, but I was thinking it's because the killer sees himself as Baal, or he is actually Baal, one of the rulers of the 9 circles of hell. Baal, the demon that once ruled hell, is described as having an ashen look or carrying ash and having a hoarse, peculiar voice. His form was inconsistent, having different faces, different heads, but he is depicted as having the body / legs of a spider. In some interpretations, people would sacrifice children to him. He granted wisdom, control over men, and powers such as invisibility. Baal eventually gave up his throne and held to Satan, taking on the role of prince. So I was like, oh, that actually like checks out so much. I would like be curious. I probably should like do more research on like the filmmakers and like the kind of layers behind that. But the whole Longlegs thing being like a parallel of like the perspective, like what Baal like is supposed to look like. It's like, okay, cool. I guess that like makes sense. I don't know. It's very interesting. Like, I definitely walked away from it like a little just annoyed because of how predictable it was. I wish that it had been a little bit more. I just wish that filmmakers would stop spoon feeding and foreshadowing things so intensely, because it makes it hard for me to like, be surprised. I don't know. Anyway, that pretty much wraps up my take on Longlegs. I guess I would give it maybe like a 6 out of 10. There were some like redeeming factors. I feel like the sound design was like wicked. There were a few moments where it was just like blaringly loud that I thought was cool. Director of photography, like cinematography was like very unique. In the beginning, I thought it was really cool. And I don't know that it stayed like that consistently through the film, but I thought there were some cool visuals that like I can respect that quality in the film. I don't know. I kind of went into it like not really knowing what to expect, or maybe just having really high expectations, trying to compare it to something like Hereditary or like Midsummer. Like, I thought it was going to be on that caliber. Like, that's the hype that it was getting. I thought it was going to mess me up, and it just like didn't at all, unfortunately. But y'all should go see it for yourself. That way everything that I said will actually make sense to you, and then you can form your own opinions about that whole shebang. Anyway, let's get into a segment, y'all. On a more lighter note, what is Zesty thirsting for this week? So, one of the things I'm thirsting for, actually, this is the only thing I have written down for this week, but my new comfort meal and my new obsession. Basically, there's a coffee shop in LA. I think also in other places, I actually don't know. It's called Alfred, and they sell like food, like prepackaged food and stuff. So one time I went there and I needed food. So they had like a chicken vegan Caesar salad kind of like wrap thing. And I think it's made by Creation. So I probably should have just said it's like a Creation wrap, but whatever. That's where I got it from the first time I tried it. And I was like, what is this? Give me 30 right now. Give me one a day, every day for lunch for the rest of my life. I was like, that's it. This is my new comfort meal. So I started making them myself. So I went to Trader Joe's. I copped some tortillas. So that is flexible. You can do like a spinach tortilla. You could just do like a regular tortilla. Preferably something that's malleable and fitting for a wrap. You feel me? And then I got romaine lettuce. Now the lettuce is also flexible. I have yet to try it with like a kale mix, but like that might be kind of good. I don't think arugula is going to be the vibe, but like a kale or, just green leaf lettuce or romaine, I feel like is going to be the way to go. That crunch is essential. Then I went to Whole Foods, and I think it was Whole Foods brand, like frozen vegan chicken strips. I got those, one, because they were the cheapest. Two, they had like the least ingredients. Like some of the other brands, their ingredient lists were like a little bit scary. And I was like, well, I'm going to be adding flavor to this, so I don't need it to be like all crazy. I'm just going to get something simple. I feel like you could also do chickpeas if you're not into fake meats, or you could do like tofu scramble, or I don't know, something along those lines, or tempeh, if that's something that you mess with, or if you're not vegetarian, you can do actual chicken, obviously. But anyway, so I got that from Whole Foods. Then I got the vegan Parmesan shreds from Trader Joe's, which actually are not bad. I got the vegan Caesar dressing from Trader Joe's, which is like insane. And then I got, this is the best of it all. They are vegan rosemary croissant croutons. Let that sink in. So I put all of that in a wrapped it up, and I've been eating that like basically every day. I've done it a few times for meal prep, and it's just like my new comfort meal. It's so good, and I'm obsessed with it. So that's what I'm thirsting for. So let's get into my hot take of the week. My hot toddy take of the week is that public parking should be free. I think that if your car is on a public street, or if it is in a parking lot that is open to the public, vulnerable to theft, just like out and about, like, why should you have to pay? I like think that like should be illegal. That like shouldn't be a thing. I think it's a scam, because we pay enough tax dollars for like roads and like things to be taken care of. Like, why do we have to pay to park on the road? Come on now, on top of that, if you're in like a private garage that has security that's gated, that I understand like paying for, because then your car is like safe and protected, hopefully, that I understand being any amount of money. I understand that. But I really think that parking should be free. Like, I thought about it when we went whale watching. We were like looking for parking, and my godfather was like, "Oh, well, like I'll just like park at like a local parking lot." Like, he's like, "I'll do valet. Like, I don't care like how much it is, whatever." Like he doesn't care. He's like, "We'll just park close if we can't like find parking, somewhere else, or if like the lot that's near it is like," because I think the last time we went, the lot that was near it was only like 2-hour parking, and the boat ride's supposed to be 2.5 hours. So he was like, "Oh, if that doesn't work out, I'll just like pay valet." And in my brain, I was like paying for parking is so like, it made me think. I was like, why is that a thing? And then a tangent that I thought of, I was watching this what was I watching? I was watching something about the city of Chicago. Oh, this dude that I follow on YouTube, his name is Peter. Wait, let me get his name for you guys. Okay, so his name is Peter Sentinello. I am obsessed with his YouTube channel. I was watching one of his videos and he was in the city of Chicago, and they had this segment where they were talking to, I think the guy that was giving him the tour was like an attorney or something, someone that worked in like government or something. And he was talking to him about the, I guess you could say crisis, but like the weird political like corruption with like the parking meters in the city of Chicago and how they're like owned by like some foreign government or some foreign people, and like the city of Chicago like sold them to like make money for the city, but then like didn't even use the money like to help the city. Like it was like it was like this scam, like I don't know, it was like some weird money laundering thing or something. And it made me think of that. I was like, oh my God, like why do we pay for parking? Unless it's secure, parking should be free. If my car is like vulnerable to being like smashed, like and broken into, I'm not paying. Like, sorry, because then like I might have to pay to get my car fixed. So that's not going to work for me. That's not going to cut it. Absolutely not. Y'all should subscribe to Peter Sentinel. I'm obsessed with his YouTube channel. It is like grade A journalism. He just travels throughout the US. He may have done like content in other countries. I don't know. But like everything that I've watched of his since I subscribed like a year or two ago has all just been in the US. He travels to like rural areas and just like interviews and like talks to the people that live there and like gets to know what their life is like, and sometimes talks about like politics and religion, and just like you're just like getting to know different parts of America that like really go unnoticed like completely most of the time. And you learn so much about the American people, why they think the way they do, probably also why they vote the way they do. And like, it's very eye-opening. If you are someone that is interested in learning and like more about Americans and their experiences in this day and age, you'll probably take a lot of interest in that. Okay, last segment of this episode. I have a really funny out-of-pocket student quote from this week that actually happened today. I've been waiting all week. I'm like, someone to say something crazy or hysterical so I could put it in the next episode. My students have just been so good. They've been chill. They've been like very demure. So I'm like, okay, someone, come on. So today I was in a lesson and this student is like 8 years old. She's very bright for her age, very mature. She's like ripping on piano. Like she's getting so good. Basically, I was in the middle of the lesson and I started to feel like extreme shortness of breath. Like I don't know where this came from. Usually that only happens to me if I'm like exercising intensely or if I am like around a dog or something. So I pull out my inhaler and I like tried to discreetly take a dose of my inhaler while my student is playing, and she's playing like loudly, but like of course like she stops playing because she hears my inhaler and she's like, Miss Caitlin, what's that? And then of course when you take an inhaler for asthma, like an albuterol, you have to hold your breath for 10-ish seconds after you take an inhalation and then let go. So she was like, oh, Miss Caitlin, what's that? And so I'm holding my breath and I'm like, wait 1 second, you know? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. Like I was trying not to stop you, but this is a medication I take for breathing for asthma. I have something called asthma. She didn't know what that was. I was like, oh, I have something like called asthma where sometimes like I have a hard trouble breathing. So I was having a hard time breathing right now. So I just took a dose and then I'll wait a minute and then I'll take another one. And she was like, wait, you can't breathe? Do you need me to call an ambulance? I thought that was so cute. She's like, do you need me to call like an ambulance or 911? Like I can call. Can you breathe now? And I was like, no, like it's not that extreme. Like I'm okay. It's just like a little bit of trouble. Like it's not, it's like I can still breathe, but it feels like hard for me to breathe, like deep. And she was like, oh, okay. She's like, oh, okay. Well, she's like, well, let me know if you can't breathe. Like I'll go get someone, like I'll go get my mom or dad or something. I was like, thank you so much. That is so sweet. Like, you know what I mean? I thought that was the cutest thing ever. She's like, you need to call an ambulance? Because she didn't know what asthma was. Like, she didn't know what the inhaler was. She had no context for what was happening to me. So her first thought was like, oh my God, she can't breathe. We need to call 911. It's like, girl, no, like, I'm good. I'm so chill. But yeah, that was so sweet. And it just made me feel like, so like, oh, you know, if something were to happen, she's got me. Like, she's so got me. Oh my gosh. Anyway, y'all, it is, what time is it right now? Anyway, y'all, it's 9:44. I'm trying to go eat some dinner. I have not eaten dinner yet today. So it's time. I'm going to sign off. I hope that you all have a wonderful weekend and a great week ahead. I am going to take my bike out for a spin this weekend. I'm so excited. I might even take it to the gym, which is like not that far, but I'm scared because I think it's like a lot of uphill. So I don't know. Maybe I'll check Google Maps first and see what it says. But yeah, I have a chill weekend ahead. What am I doing this weekend? I don't know. I might record another episode and then hang out with my dad on Saturday since he's off and just chill and rot. Oh, and finish up my demos. I'm excited for that. I'm almost done with my demos, y'all. And then all I have to do is book some studio time and record final vocals. Then I can just put a bow on it and send it to mix and master. And then I got to work on visuals. I'm so excited, y'all. I'm thinking out loud. I'm like, ooh, 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 ooh. But yeah, music is coming very soon. Maybe not very soon, but soon. It is coming. So I'll keep you updated on that. Anyway, have a wonderful weekend. And stay safe out there, y'all. And I will see you next week. Okay, bye.